Chapter 20. The Savage Bear and the Bloodthirst Awakening. Yuan Ming's heart tightened as he whipped his head toward the sound. From the swirling dust of the forest floor, a towering figure emerged, a massive brown bear covered in shaggy yellow fur. It was twice the size of the black bear he had slain before, its bulk rivaling a small house. As the beast's eyes locked onto him, Yuan Ming felt as if he were prey caught in the gaze of a monstrous predator. A chill ran down his spine despite his outward calm. This isn't just any wild beast. This must be a mid-tier rank 1 fierce creature, he thought grimly, his heart sinking. He had barely recovered from the last battle. His spiritual energy was low, and even at full strength, he would not dare confront such a monster head-on. Suddenly, Yuan Ming let out a ferocious roar and tensed his muscles as if preparing to lunge. The brown bear hesitated, sensing danger. But it was a feint. Yuan Ming sprang backward and climbed swiftly up a large tree. The bear, realizing it had been tricked, let out a thunderous roar and charge. Its speed was terrifying within moments. It was at the base of the tree and slammed its paw against the trunk. Crack. The tree, thick as a barrel, snapped like a twig. Yuan Ming, halfway up, fell with it. But he remained composed, using the momentum to leap from the collapsing tree and land on another nearby trunk. The bear raised its head and roared again. The sound was deafening, like grinding metal, shaking Yuan Ming to his core. His ears rang, his limbs froze, and he began to plummet. Yet before he hit the ground, the 9 yuan art activated instinctively. A surge of pure spiritual energy rushed through his meridians, restoring circulation and dispelling the numbness. Grabbing a nearby tree, Yuan Ming extended his claws transformed by the hide fusion art and dug into the bark. Thud! He hung suspended in midair. The bear slammed into the tree again, breaking it with a second strike. Yuan Ming had already leapt to another massive tree, fortifying himself with spiritual energy in anticipation of another roar. But it never came. Puzzled but undeterred, he climbed higher. From this height nearly 30 feet up, the bear's roar could no longer reach him. The beast, unwilling to let its prey escape, began to pound the tree. Bark cracked. Leaves rained down. But the colossal tree stood firm. A beast this powerful must be a mid-tier rank 1, Yuan Ming muttered, drawing a stone from his robes. He hurled it down. Crack. The stone shattered against the bear's skull. It did little damage, but it enraged the creature further. It attacked the tree with renewed fury, yet to no avail. Yuan Ming smiled coldly, continuing to pelt it with stones. Gradually, the bear's strength waned. It huffed, its chest heaving, its rage fading. After half an hour, the bear let out a low growl and turned away. Yuan Ming threw another stone, striking its skull again. This time, the bear didn't respond. It trudged off into the woods, ignoring him. Not entirely brainless, but too late now, he murmured. With several quick movements, Yuan Ming leapt through the air and pounced from above. His clawed hands became streaks of cold light as they slashed down at the bear's back. The bear sensed danger and tried to roll away, but couldn't avoid the full strike. Yuan Ming's claws cut a shallow half-foot wound across its hide. Purple poison began to seep into the wound, poison he had acquired from Ulu and discreetly applied to his claws. Furious, the bear swiped at Yuan Ming's head. But its movements had slowed. Yuan Ming shrank back into his white ape form, slipping beneath the attack, slashing the bear's flank as he passed. The battle continued, Yuan Ming weaving through trees, striking and retreating. The bear was powerful, but clumsy and exhausted. Blood soaked its fur, and the poison began to take hold. Its steps grew sluggish. Knowing the end was near, The bear let out a final roar and charged. Yuan Ming darted behind a thick tree as the beast unleashed one last desperate strike. The bear slammed into the tree, rebounded, and collapsed, stunned. It stumbled forward, then fell face first to the ground. Yuan Ming emerged from the dust like a shadow, lunged, and drove his claws deep into the bear's neck. With one savage pull, he tore open its spine. Blood sprayed in all directions. The beast twitched once. Then it lay still. Panting heavily, Yuan Ming collapsed to the ground. His limbs trembled. The fight had nearly drained the last of his strength. He extracted a blood storage pouch and drained the bear's vital essence. But he had no strength left to refine it. He simply sat there, breathing raggedly, every bone in his body aching. If not for the poison, misdirection, and constant attrition, I'd have never stood a chance, he thought. Yet this forest was soaked in blood. Lingering would be unwise. Yuan Ming bit the tip of his tongue, using the pain to stay conscious. He staggered up with the help of a nearby tree. But just a few steps later, he froze. A sudden wave of violent, primal rage surged through his veins. The white ape pelt on his body squirmed, as if alive. His remaining spiritual power turned chaotic. Blood-red light flickered in his eyes, and an overwhelming urge to kill consumed him. Panicking, Yuan Ming dropped into a meditative stance and circulated the 9 yuan art. It took 3 full cycles before the bloodthirst subsided slightly. Then, gathering his spiritual energy into his left hand, he tapped the mysterious incense burner mark on his arm. A flash of green light appeared. The small, ancient burner materialized in his palm. Warmth flowed from it, seeping into his body and washing over his mind like a hot spring. The killing urge dissipated at last. Moments later, the pelt's reaction faded. Yuan Ming deactivated the hide fusion art and sat quietly, staring at the burner in his hand. This was the 3rd time the pelt had triggered bloodlust after a major battle. He could suppress it temporarily, but it was growing stronger each time. If not for the burner's calming essence, he might have lost control completely. Could it be? I've spent too long merged with the white ape form, he murmured. Thankfully, I have this. Still shaken, he tucked the burner away and climbed a nearby tree. Even without transforming, he moved faster now. Halfway up, he found a stable branch and sat to restore his energy. When his strength returned, he took out the blood pouch and began refining the bear's essence. The ball of purified blood essence was significantly larger than those from previous beasts. Definitely a mid-tier rank 1, he confirmed. This battle had taught him much. Such beasts were powerful but not invincible. He stowed the pouch, transformed into the white ape again, and pressed deeper into the forest. After an hour's travel, a wide stream appeared, winding its way out of a nearby mountain hollow. The cool air and sparkling water brought a moment of peace. Yuan Ming bent down to drink, but paused when something caught his eye. A few green fruit husks lay on the ground, freshly peeled. He recognized them tart and sweet, a rare delicacy in the forest. But these had been peeled cleanly. Too cleanly. Monkeys don't peel fruit like this. Yuan Ming narrowed his eyes and stood still. Something or someone was nearby. Chapter 21. Yuan Ming's eyes narrowed slightly as he scanned the forest. Was that sound left behind by some other beast slave? He muttered, eyes sweeping the surroundings. There was no one in sight. But something caught his attention. Atop a tall tree nearby, perched on a slender branch, was a peculiar creature, a silver-furred beast about the size of a house cat. Its fur was flawless, a brilliant silver sheen with not a single strand out of place. One eye gleamed amber, the other a deep sapphire, both glittering like precious gemstones as they stared directly at him. Before Yuan Ming could move, the creature turned and leapt away, vanishing from tree to tree with incredible agility. HMPH. What are you running from? I wasn't going to hurt you. He wasn't too concerned and continued exploring. Not long after, something else drew his attention, a fresh footprint, humanoid in shape. He crouched down, studying the imprint thoughtfully before following its direction. The trail led him through the forest for several minutes until it abruptly disappeared atop a patch of rocky terrain. The person hadn't bothered to conceal their presence, but now their tracks were gone. Frowning, Yuan Ming pressed on. Soon, the trees gave way to a clearing. Before him lay a small, tranquil lake, perhaps a dozen acres in size. The surface was still, bordered by tall grass and summer reeds. Strangely, despite the summer heat, the humidity around the lake was noticeably low. He knelt at the water's edge and dipped his fingers in. A chill seeped up his arm, bone deep and unnatural. Suddenly, the grass beside him rustled. A silver flash shot out. It was the creature from earlier, the silver-furred cat. In its mouth it carried a dark object, perhaps a piece of leather. It locked eyes with Yuan Ming, then bolted again, vanishing into the grass but not before it dropped the item. Such a skittish little thing, he murmured, stepping forward to retrieve the object. It was a piece of black hide, intricately patterned. Clearly man-made. No way something like this is naturally found in the wild, Yuan Ming mused. Someone must have dropped it. He began searching the surrounding grass for more clues, but found nothing. Bringing the hide to his nose, he sniffed. It didn't smell like rotting flesh or animal remains. Rather, it had a dank, algae-like scent. A thought struck him. He turned back to the lake and started inspecting its edges. Eventually, something in the wet soil near the shore made him stop. Faint paw prints. Small ones. Pushing aside some dense grass nearby, he froze. Half buried in the mud was a corpse. The upper half had decayed into bare bones, while the lower half was embedded in the muck. The dead man's clothing had long since rotted away, but Yuan Ming spotted something familiar, a black leather coat, the same material as the scrap the silver beast had dropped. More importantly, around the corpse's waist was a belt of beast hide. He crouched beside it and carefully removed the black hide, examining it. Unlike the white ape hide he'd used before, this one was smooth and hairless, with faint white patterns and patches of a hard, scale-like substance on the back. Water-dwelling, he guessed. A tear the size of a palm marked its spine, clearly a fatal blow. Yuan Ming dragged the corpse from the mud. The ribcage around the heart had been shattered. Some powerful force must have struck from behind. Yet no storage pouches or other clues remained. He frowned. So the man wasn't killed by a beast, but by another beast slave. That thought chilled him. The 10,000 mountains were brutal. Survival of the fittest. One moment you were hunting prey, the next, you became someone else's target. He remembered something the elder had said. These special hides were refined with great effort by Shanluo Cave. Each carried a magical marker. If a beast slave died, the sect would reclaim the hide immediately. So why had no one come for this one? Unless, he examined the damaged spot closely, then made a decision. Yuan Ming undid his white ape transformation and focused his spiritual energy into the black hide, trying to activate it. Nothing happened. Damaged beyond function, he muttered, tossing it aside. But halfway through turning away, he paused, then picked it up again. There might still be value. He returned to the lakeside and spread the black hide before him. Then, summoning his mystical blue incense burner, he pressed it against the hide. As soon as the burner touched the surface, a stream of warm blue light poured into the hide, flowing through its white vein like patterns. As the glow traveled, the patterns lit up, snaking toward the torn section on the back. The concentration of markings there suggested a vital node. Suddenly, a blurry phantom emerged from the tear, a swollen, bulbous creature with tiny limbs. A ghostly toad. So this is the beast spirit, Yuan Ming murmured. Just like the ape hide, each one must carry its own beast soul. The phantom let out a faint croak before vanishing back into the hide. Then the torn patterns started reweaving themselves, closing the tear. Within moments, the hide was whole again. It worked. The hide pulsed faintly, its patterns vibrant and active once more. It looked newly crafted. Yuan Ming channeled energy into it again. This time, the hide wrapped around him, fusing over his skin. In seconds, his body was clad in dark, armored flesh, bumpy with hardened warts along his back. His fingers and toes ended in stubby webbed tips. When he looked at his reflection in the lake, he almost laughed bitterly. He resembled a humanoid toad. I thought the ape form was bad. This is worse. What could a toad beast even be good for? He muttered. But the moment he inhaled deeply, his eyes widened. His lungs expanded far more than usual. Each breath was deeper, fuller, and he could hold it far longer than before. To test it, Yuan Ming jumped into the lake and sank beneath the surface. Moments passed. Then minutes. No need to breathe. Eventually, he surfaced on the opposite shore. At least it's useful underwater, he thought. If I ever get caught in a poisoned swamp deep in the mountains, this form could save my life. Underwater, the toad form was swift and agile. On land, however, it was clumsy and slow. Attacks practically non-existent. Still, its survival potential was undeniable. I kinda feel sorry for the poor soul who ended up stuck with this form, he muttered, before removing the hide and tucking it away. Though its combat ability was lacking, the black hide offered something valuable: survivability in extreme environments. And more importantly, this experiment revealed something about the incense burner. That mysterious artifact might possess the power to restore damaged beast hides and perhaps even unlock hidden abilities. He'd need to explore that further in the future. Here is the full retelling of Chapter 22 featuring Yuan Ming. Rewritten in proper American English with a classic Xianxia, immortal hero, tone and filled in where the original text was corrupted or unclear. Chapter 22. Forming an Alliance. Yuan Ming stood silently atop a small dirt mound, where he had just buried a fallen beast slave. A makeshift dam of earth stood behind him, the battlefield now silent except for the wind rustling through the trees. You should have already reincarnated by now, he murmured to the unmarked grave. In your next life, may you no longer be shackled by the fate of a beast slave. This cultivation path is far too cruel. He paused, a hint of sorrow flickering across his otherwise composed features. Today I buried your bones. One day, if I too fall unmarked, will there be anyone left to bury me? Yuan Ming's voice was barely above a whisper as he spoke to himself. Both a morning chant and a somber reminder of the harsh reality. In this world of survival of the fittest, if I cannot escape the status of a beast slave and be accepted into the Bai Luo cave sect, then my fate will be no different than yours. Without lingering, he resumed his journey, his white ape form blending into the forest's shifting shadows. He soon left behind the lake region and entered a thick, ancient woodland. Unbeknownst to him, from high above in a treetop, the silver-furred creature from earlier, a silver boar with long, Narrow eyes watched him with silent intensity. The forest grew dim, light barely filtering through the dense canopy. Yuan Ming slowed his pace, cautious of what might lie ahead. Then he stopped. A fresh set of footprints appeared on the muddy ground, just the right size to match the person he had been tracking. He followed them forward, and before long, the distant clash of battle broke through the still air, mingled with the roars of fierce beasts. Yuan Ming's eyes narrowed. He picked up his pace and quickly arrived at a clearing. Two massive beasts were locked in combat. One was a green-furred wolf standing upright like a man, over 15 feet tall. Its muscular limbs and sharp claws exuded deadly power. Its narrow, icy eyes were calm, too calm. Clearly, this was no wild animal, it was a transformed beast slave. Its opponent was a crimson-scaled crocodile, easily 30 feet long, its body armored in thick plating. Its yellow eyes radiated bloodlust. Every time it swung its tail, it gouged deep trenches into the earth. Though the green wolf lacked the brute strength of the red crocodile, it made up for it with speed and agility, dancing through attacks and lashing out with blade-like claws. Yet even these strikes barely scratched the crocodile's iron-hard hide. Yuan Ming watched silently. That wolf-beast slave's cultivation is higher than mine. He was going to stay hidden and observe, but then stepped forward boldly, revealing himself in his white ape form. The green wolf immediately noticed him and cast a cold glare his way. In these mountains, beast slaves were often forced to collect blood for the Bailuo cave sect, and competition was fierce. Ambushes and betrayals were common. The sudden appearance of another beast slave during a life-or-death battle could only mean one thing. This newcomer wanted to swoop in and take advantage of the aftermath. Yet the wolf found it strange. Anyone planning to strike from the shadows would usually stay hidden. Why reveal yourself? The crocodile took advantage of the distraction, opening its massive jaws to fire a stream of water shaped like a sharp blade toward the wolf's throat. But the wolf had anticipated this. It leapt high into the air, evading the attack with ease, and landed squarely on the crocodile's back. Its right claw glowed green, slashing downward. The crocodile roared and twisted, trying to escape, but not fast enough. The wolf's claw raked across its snout, leaving 5 deep gashes that gushed with blood. Enraged, the crocodile rolled violently, sending up clouds of dust. The wolf quickly leapt away. Then, a change occurred. The crocodile's eyes began to glow red. Its black scales turned a sickly white-red hue, and its body swelled rapidly. Yuan Ming's eyes narrowed. What is that technique? A bloodline crocodile? The wolf gasped aloud, speaking human words. In an instant, the beast's strength surged by 30%. Blood-red runes appeared across its scales. The wounds on its snout no longer bled. It slapped the ground and lunged at the wolf with terrifying speed. The wolf dodged, but the crocodile's massive tail slammed the earth and propelled it forward, catching the wolf by the shoulder. Its jaws clamped down, and one paw pinned the wolf to the ground. Just then, from afar, a green streak shot through the air aimed directly at the crocodile's left eye. The crocodile tried to dodge, but the bamboo tube struck near its eye and exploded into a mist of pale green liquid. The fluid splashed into its eyes, seeping into the sockets. The crocodile shrieked in pain, eyes rotting almost instantly. The wolf wrenched free and struck. Its right claw tore directly into the crocodile's right eye, ripping it out. The beast roared with unimaginable agony, flailing and crashing into nearby trees, uprooting them with sheer fury. But the wolf had already retreated. It turned to look at Yuan Ming in the distance, who had not moved from his position. It now realized who had thrown the bamboo bomb. The crocodile staggered away blindly, unable to fight any longer. It crashed into a massive tree and collapsed, exposing its vulnerable underbelly. The wolf wasted no time. It dashed forward and tore open the crocodile's abdomen. Blood and entrails spilled out in a gory flood. The creature twitched a final time before going still. The wolf pulled out a blood collection pouch and carefully gathered the creature's essence. It cast a wary glance at Yuan Ming. But Yuan Ming remained still, hands by his sides, offering no threat. Finally, the wolf relaxed and gave a nod. "Thank you for your help, friend. My name is Ha Gong. May I know yours?" "I am Yuan Ming," he replied, returning the gesture with calm respect. "This isn't a place fit for talking. Let's find a safer spot," Ha Gong suggested. Yuan Ming nodded. They soon arrived at a lakeside clearing. Yuan Ming recognized it as the place he had once found that black pelt. Ha Gong, covered in blood and dirt, washed himself clean in the water. He then dispelled his transformation, revealing a young man in his 20s with golden hair and sharp eyes clearly from the southern border regions. Yuan Ming had also removed his beast disguise. "You're from the Central Plains?" Ha Gong asked, surprised. Yuan Ming nodded. "Yes. Due to certain events, I ended up captured and sent to Bai Luo Cave as a beast slave." "I see. No wonder you looked unfamiliar," Ha Gong muttered, then smiled faintly. Yuan Ming offered a respectful tone. "I only arrived recently. I was simply curious about your battle with the crocodile and stayed to watch. I hope you don't mind." "Mind? If you hadn't helped, I'd either be dead or maimed. I owe you my life," Ha Gong said seriously. Their bond was forged through battle. As they chatted, Yuan Ming learned that Ha Gong had been a beast slave for over 2 years, a veteran of this cruel hierarchy. Yuan Ming asked, "Brother Ha Gong, how much do you know about the Bai Luo Cave sect?" Ha Gong nodded. "Only bits and pieces. My cousin and I were captured the same way. What I do know is that Bai Luo Cave is a major sect in the southern border. It commands vast power, especially here in the 10,000 Mountains. They have 3 powerful nascent soul stage leaders overseeing everything." Yuan Ming looked around at the endless mountain ranges. "This place? Is it all the 10,000 Mountains?" "Yes," Ha Gong replied. "The largest mountain range in the south. You won't find its end just by looking." Yuan Ming gave a quiet smile. He wasn't trying to see the end, he just wanted to understand the world he now stood in. "Brother Ha Gong, in this vast forest, how many beast slaves like us are there?" Ha Gong's face turned grave. "A countless number," he said. Thank you for listening to the end of this episode. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe to support us and give us more motivation to upload new videos.